Last year, I made a video called Technologies I'm Learning in 2021. I want to review the technologies I said I learned and see how I actually did, and then tell you guys what I'm planning on learning in 2022. Relay, the GraphQL client that is made by Facebook that's supposed to be awesome, beast mode. Everyone's telling me to try it out, and I never got to it. And I just kind of don't have a good excuse other than I didn't feel like it. And I'm relatively happy with the GraphQL client that I'm using now, Urkel. So I've been just continuing to use that. Should I give Relay a try? Yes. Will it happen this year? To be honest, probably not. But maybe, possibly. I did indeed try OVH. I bought a VPS from them and it was great. But unfortunately, I bought it right when they had a fire and it went down. And I was like, well, snap, that's not good. And I switched to Google Cloud. Oh, Elixir, I had a lot of fun with you in 2021. I built an entire Clubhouse clone backend using it. It worked wonderfully, like 95% of the time, and I loved the language. But I also died inside having to code with a dynamically typed language, and that is the reason why I am not coding in Elixir currently. I still really like it. I'll probably do some Elixir microservice things because the like real-time decentralized, that's not the right word, concurrent something where you can have lots of processes happening at once. Elixir is great at. I really liked it and would happily do more of it. Rust never really happened. I was going to do some smart contract stuff with Solana, and I did dabble my toe a little bit in, but then I lost interest in Solana smart contracts, and I was like, yeah, I don't really feel like learning Rust anymore. I'll probably get to Rust eventually, but here's the thing. I just really don't have a good use case to learn it right now. But when I have one, then I'm going to learn Rust, but it's just not there yet. Cloudflare is great. I stick in front of everything. That's pretty much it. REST APIs were created by me in 2021, but what I ended up doing was just trying to recreate my experience in GraphQL and generate types and do all that fun stuff, and I realized that was dumb, and so I just switched back to doing GraphQL APIs. I never created a component library, just not really feeling it. I tried really hard to do a hardware project and I thought of a really cool idea, and I tried in my brain to figure out what I would actually do to make this happen, and I could figure out the sequence of logic, but then mapping that to the actual hardware parts I'd have to buy and wiring it all up was just something I could not be bothered to do. There's just not as many resources on hardware as there is the software, and it's like the cost of like trial and error is way more expensive, not even from a monetary point of view, but your time of like waiting for parts to arrive, trialing to see if the part works, and if it didn't, and it just never happened. I do want to give it more tries in 2022 because there's still like a really cool thing I want to build. I just need to have the willpower to want to try making it again, which I lost. Now I want to talk about some of the technologies that I used a lot in 2021. I mentioned Chakra in my last video and how I like to use it to style React components. I'm not using that anymore. Tailwind is my go-to thing for styling absolutely everything. It is amazing for productivity and I highly recommend it. For GraphQL clients, I am fully on the Urkel train right now. I don't really need the extra features that Apollo has, and I feel like it's just getting a little clunky. Front-end frameworks, still on React, still like it, and that's pretty much what I'm using for everything. TypeScript's my go-to language for just full stack. I like using it with Node. I like using it on the front end. It's great. I really like the language. It's statically typed, which is big for me. And I'm using it more than Elixir because of that, though I still see myself using some Elixir for certain things. Database, PostgresQL, pretty standard, fantastic. Use it for everything. I started using Prisma 2 with PostgresQL. I still don't like that it does like way too many queries if I tilt to update and return fields. It's not very optimized, but other than that, the UX experience for development is very good. I really like it. React Native is what I'm using to build all apps, not going back to native development and not using Flutter. VS Code with Vim key bindings is the editor I'm using. I did see JetBrains create like a VS Code like editor, and I might try that at some point, but to be honest, I have zero complaints with VS Code right now. AWS has become the cloud that I use most, but there's not really a good reason behind that. And lastly, this is not really something I used a lot in 2021, but I did learn how to do smart contracts with Solidity. And It's kind of gross because it just reminds me a lot of Java, but it is a thing I did. For 2022, the first thing that I'd like to do is learn more animation things. If you've seen my previous projects, you may see the lack of animations. That's because I just never was really comfortable with them and I didn't know how to animate or what I wanted to animate. But now when I'm doing Void Pet, I kind of like sticking animations in places, and so I'm going to do more stuff related to animations. Next, this is a possibility. It's not confirmed. It's not 100%, but I might do some Unity / some 3D game dev. It may not actually be with Unity because I'm kind of enjoying building a game right now. Void Pet is specifically going to be a web game for a while, so it may not need this, but there may be a point where I want to. Now, for some reason, I'm kind of in the mood to learn Terraform and Kubernetes and do like some fancy DevOps things. I don't really have a good reason for you on this one, other than I just kind of in the mood for whatever reason. Turbo Repo is something I think is going to be really easy to learn, and it's just going to speed up my Yarn workspaces, and I just need to learn it and plug it into my things. It probably is going to take like 10 minutes too. Remix is a React framework that is kind of a competitor to Next.js. I'm going to be watching this and probably trying it out sometime this year. I'm excited to see Next.js actually have a competitor because they really are competing against no one right now. So that's just going to make the web dev environment better for everyone. Lastly, we got smart contracts. This is a very big maybe. I don't actually know if this is going to happen. I just can't see myself not dabbling in them somewhere, but it may not be a deep thing. Every time I've done smart contracts, I've kind of lost interest halfway through, but it may happen. Who knows? There you go. Those are my plans for 2022. Let me know in the comments below what you're planning on learning, or if you have any recommendations for me. I'm always happy to hear them.